of omission of the party proposing and which has the effect of communicating it. An offer is effective when and not until it is communicated to the offeree. Mark that an offer is effective when and not until it is communicated to an offeree. Meaning, if I have an offer, I have to communicate to the offeree. The offeree is the person whom I'm giving the offer or I'm offering. So I have to communicate it to the person for it to be complete. So the communication has to be there. An offer, so an acceptance in ignorance of an offer is not an acceptance. So a proposal may be made in a definite person to some class of person or to the whole world. So termination of an offer. How can I terminate an offer? I can terminate an offer in so many other ways. So an offer or a proposal may be terminated at any time before its acceptance is complete. Once an offer has been accepted, a binding contract is formed. An offer may be terminated in 5 principal ways. Way number 1, withdrawal or revocation. We have entered into a contract, or I have given you an offer and you have accepted. And then you withdraw. You already terminate an offer. Then you can reject. Then there's a lapse of time of what for want of acceptance. Maybe I gave a period of time, like I gave an offer, like I'm selling my TV at 5,000 shillings because I need to sort out my things, and then that is an offer I've given out. And if I've given a period of maybe 1 day for anybody to speak, so if the time elapses, then that offer becomes invalid. We can already terminate that offer because the time elapsed. Then another one is upon occurrence of a specific event or failure of condition of precedent. Now, for example, you had you had agreed, you had given an offer, maybe to supply some things, or maybe the university okay, let me use the university. The university has an offer for anybody who wishes to supply maybe milk to the university, and the offer is the first come, the one who will come first with very good qualities will be given a discount of maybe 10%. But then in between, he gives a period like a week or 2 weeks. Before the lapse of 2 weeks, a certain occurrence appears. Certain occurrence, like now, for example, a coronavirus comes up. So even if the offer was given, so it becomes invalid. So because of the occurrence of that specific event, the offer cannot stand. So it is rejected or revoked. It's called a revocation. The university can withdraw the offer because it can no longer withstand the offer because of the occurrence of such a things. So those are the things that can be able to bar an offer and acceptance to continue. And then we have death of the offeree or insanity. The person offering, like for example, I was selling my piece of land. I have a piece of land I want to sell. I'm offering to sell it to at 250,000. Though it is worth 500,000, I'm offering to sell it at 250,000, and that is if you pay the money at a go. But then, in between, before I even sell it, I die. So the death of the offerer. So if the offerer dies, then it means that the offer is terminated. So those are some of the ways that we can terminate an offer. So, and remember, an offer and acceptance, these are the things that must be present. They must occur before a contract can be sealed. There has to be an offer, there has to be an acceptance. So that is what I've been explaining. I've been explaining all those things. That is termination by rejection, the lapse of what? Want of acceptance, the death of or insanity. Insanity means when somebody turns mad. When a person turns mad, the offer cannot stand. So it is revoked. And another one is acceptance for a proposal. Acceptance of a proposal now. Acceptance is now accepting. Somebody has given you an offer and you think that the terms are okay with you. You can be able to manage the terms, so you accept. So acceptance is the final and unqualified expression of assent to the terms of the offer. It it is a signification of willingness by the offeree to accept the offer and the proposal once accepted because of a promise. So anytime that an offer is given and you accept, then already you have moved to the next step. An offer has been an offer or a proposal has been given, and then an acceptance comes in. So when the acceptance comes, now we can have a contract coming in, because there has to be an offer and an acceptance. I'm rushing over these notes because I talked about them last week. So though the class was not that big last week, but I know you are getting something. Then I go to communication of acceptance. How do we communicate the acceptance? Communication of the acceptance is complete. That is when, as against the proposer, when it is put in a course of transmission to him, so as to be out of power of the acceptor. It means that you have to tell, when you accept, you have to tell the offerer that I've already accepted, or against the acceptor when it comes in the knowledge of the proposer. So it has to be communicated back. The same way the offerer communicated to the offeree, then the person accepting, that is the acceptor, need to communicate back to the offerer to tell him or her that I've accepted your offer. So the rules of governing acceptance, some of the rules are: number one, acceptance must be in response to and in exchange of the proposal. That is, in response to the proposal, the offeree must be aware of the proposal. That is very important. The offeree must be aware of the proposal. So the knowledge of the existence of the proposal is very necessary. Now, where a person is not aware of the offerer, he cannot accept. You can, if you don't know the person who is offering, you cannot accept. So the proposal is invalid. And another one is in exchange of the offer. A person may have knowledge of the offer and may accept it, but not in exchange of the offer. If this is the case, then there is no acceptance of the offer. Another one is acceptance must exactly match the terms of the offer. That is, it is a mirror image rule. If I'm selling my phone at 500, that is an offer, and you are accepting, then it means you should accept it at exactly that price. So it means it is a mirror image rule. You accept it at exact terms that I'm offering. Then we say that you are accepting the offer. Then another thing, another element of a contract, or another thing, a characteristic of a contract, is intention to create legal relations. I'd already lectured about that. Is the fact that the parties have reached an agreement does not necessarily mean that they have concluded a legally enforceable contract, even when the agreement is supported by the consideration. This is what we say. Normally, a consideration is the pay, the cash, the money, the reward that you. Consideration can be even giving your time, giving the money, giving the cash, or giving the thing that is being sold or that is being transferred. So any contract must be in a position to be accompanied by a legal intention. Like, for example, like now I had given an example of people getting into a relationship. Like, for example, somebody called Tom, or let me call this person Jack. Somebody called Jack wants to get into a relationship to a person called Edna. So these people have been communicating. The Jack has given an offer and Edna has accepted. So their offer and acceptance does not end there. The main thing, the what that needs to make the contract to end well, or to be sealed correctly, is there has to be an intention to create a legal relation. So this intention to create a legal relation is by, number one, informing other people, like their close relatives, including their parents, and then going a step and making it legal by even going for deciding to even get married and get a marriage certificate. So that is the intention to create a legal relation. Any contract that you come into, be always be willing to create a legal relation. Another thing is consideration. In consideration, we know that every contract must be supported with consideration. Consideration must not be just money. That is, by definition, a consideration is something of value in the eyes of the law or exchange of promises. You can even promise, even a promise is a consideration. Promising that I will always be there to do what is supposed to be done is already a consideration. So a consideration must not always be money. It depends on the type of contract. So it is defined by our law under section 2(1)(d) of the Law of Contract Act. In 1961, considerations may consist of some right, interest, profit, or benefit accruing to the one party, or some forbearance, determine loss or responsibility. So in consideration is the benefit the person is getting. You cannot get into a contract if you're not getting a consideration, or if you are not benefiting. You have to be able to benefit for you to be able to get the consideration. And then facts about consideration I've talked there. And then standards form of contract, free consent. I've already talked about the free consent. The capacity of the contract, I talked about that. The only persons of sound mind are the ones who are at the right age and not otherwise disqualified by law may enter into a contract. And that brings me to a very important thing. Who are the people who can enter into a contract? Who are the kinds of people that you cannot enter into a contract? This one, I will allow you to get books somewhere to write down this, because you might not find them in my notes. I'm giving you like 3 minutes so that you can get your pens and books so that you write down this. Get your pens and books so that you can write down this. And then when you're ready, tell me we are ready so that I give you the list.
We are ready.
Oh, Edgar is ready. What about Wainaina and Humphrey and Salad?
We are ready.
Okay. Now, number one is the people, right? The subtopic is the person who is an underage. An underage is a person who is below 18 years. So now that you've gotten your books, you can mute your mics so that you don't disturb us. Kacheru? Yes. So I've said the first person that you cannot enter into a contract with is a person who is underage. An underage person is a person who is under the age of 18 years. Like in our country, Kenya, a person who is under 18 years is considered a minor. So this is an underage person is also a minor. So when a question comes to your exam and you are asked, list and explain 5 people that you cannot enter into a contract with. So the first person is a minor or underage. This is a person who is considered young or not have reached the age of entering into a contract. Like for example, if you go to let me give a very good example of an underage person. You go to, maybe you are selling things. You are selling, let me say you are a salesperson in a solar company. And this solar company, you are told to supply things like solars and install them to clients. Now, take for instance, Copper Solar. So you are a salesperson in the company, and then you have gone to a homestead, because these people normally go to the villages and they do their marketing from door to door. You go to a homestead and you get a 10-year-old kid there. And then this 10-year-old kid there, you ask the 10-year-old kid, where is your mother? And then the child tells you that my parents are not around, but I can assist you. And then you tell the person, I'm selling this, and I will give you so that you can be paying this thing in installments. And then the kid just accepts and you leave, and you think that you'll come back for the money. So when you come back and maybe get your solar is spoiled, you will not even blame the kid, and you can even not take this child to court, not even their parents, because you entered into a contract with a minor. A minor is somebody who cannot make a decision by him or herself. So that is the first person that you cannot get into a contract with. The second person is an insane. Write that. An insane. Insane is a mad person. Somebody who is insane. You cannot enter into a contract with an insane person, meaning you need somebody with a sound mind to enter into a contract with. So, this insane person, you like just the way I've explained, you meet somebody on the road, and then the person is insane or does not appear to be okay, and then you agree to even buy a piece of land from this person. And in the first place, maybe the person does not even have that land, and you go ahead and may even try to steal a contract the person. So the moment something occurs, then you cannot even sue this person because the person is not does not have the capacity. We are saying the person lacks the capacity to enter into a contract because the person is an insane. The third person that you cannot enter into a contract with is a bankrupt. A bankrupt. A bankrupt person is the person who has been declared by the state to be bankrupt. A bankrupt person is the person who cannot raise even the minimum amount needed for a normal person to even sustain a day's meal. Like cannot even afford 70 shillings a day. So this is a bankrupt. So you cannot enter into a contract with a bankrupt because the law cannot defend you. These are the people that the law or the law of Kenya have put aside that you cannot enter into a contract with. The fourth person is an alien. An alien. Who is an alien? An alien is a person who comes from a country or a place where that is an enemy to the government. You cannot enter into a contract from as somebody who comes from a place that the country does not accept. Now, like for example, we have we have some bad groups that are disturbing our peace. Like now, let me just quote the Al Shabaab. So, if you get into a contract to a person coming from such a group or such a place, so if the contract will never be termed as legal because you are entering into an agreement or into a contract with an alien. And I've said an alien is a person coming from the place that is not a friend to the government. So I know you have understood that. So later we will now be explaining the void valid contract, and when we'll be explaining about the void and valid contract, you will know that actually why we call this somebody who is an alien, why we classify him under the people you cannot enter into a contract with. So I'm done with the listing. So now let us proceed. We have types of contracts. We are going to look at them. Voidable contracts, discharge of contract, remedies of breach of contract. Then the contract, bankruptcy, all those that I was explaining, death of a person that can lead to a termination of a contract. I have already posted these notes in your. I've already posted these notes in your portal, so you can get them there. Let me bring about another essentials of a valid contract. Now we can go through that very fast because I've already told you. So these are the major bases. So if somebody tells you now, list the essentials of a valid contract, these 10 things are the most important things that you need to list. That is intention to create a legal relationship, lawful object, agreement, not expressly declared void, proper offer and its acceptance, free consent. I've explained this. That is why I'm just reading through them. Free consent, capacity of parties to contract, certainty of meaning, possibility of performance, lawful consideration, and legal formalities. All those things are the essentials of a valid contract. The explanations are there. I'm just rushing over them because we were not to discuss this today. I'm just repeating. And that is now. Then we go to the types of contracts. Types of contracts. Now, types of contracts are there. You can see them. We have contracts under seal. We have express contracts. Express contracts, when the parties and the state state the terms either orally or in written. We have implied contracts. We have those ones I'll be giving you. We have executed and executory contract. Executed contract is a contract that has already happened, and executory contract is a contract that you get in that can be executed, has not already been executed. We have a bilateral contract. We have bilateral and unilateral contract and consolidated contract. Adhesion contracts are there. Void and valid and voidable contracts. Now that you've known the basics of a contract, those are the types of contracts. I've already posted those notes. So you guys go through the notes and make your own notes, because we cannot make notes while we are learning online, because I'm showing you the slides and we are discussing, and we cannot make notes at the same time. So I want us to go to the final, almost the final thing on contract, so that we can go to today's lesson. Contract documents. This is a very important thing in contracts. Contract documents, the first contract document that we normally have is an agreement. For you to be able to call it as a contract, there has to be an agreement. An agreement is the principal agreement between the, now this one is majorly in the construction project. I chose this because you guys are normally going to work on contracts that are on the construction project. So I chose the ones that are on the construction projects because they are relevant for you. We have so many other documents, but in other projects. So for example, in a construction project, we have one of the documents is an agreement. It is the principal agreement between the construction contractor and the private property owner or the contracting officer of a business. It is the essential component of the bundle of various contract documents. So the main document on which most of the documents attached or refer have a clearly defined scope of the work involved for a project is helpful during the binding process. So the scope of work of documents, sometimes known as the statement of work, should enumerate all of the work to be done. So who is responsible for the work? So how the work should be performed. That is the scope of work document. That's another document of a contract. Another document we have is the construction schedule. The schedule is something like that shows how you are going to do the work, how you are going to do your construction. Another one is the general conditions. The general conditions of the contract, you can say whether it is a long term or whether it is a short term, whether it needs special attention. That is now, we have another one called the special document. And specification is also another one. The bill of quantity is one of the documents that can never miss in the documents of a contract, because the bill of quantities gives the total amount of the project. And then we have cost estimate. It shows how you came up with the cost of. Then we have drawings, which are also very essential parts of the contract. Then lastly, we have the release of construction insurance. coverage. So those are some of the documents of a valid contract and essential documents. So next we are going to breach of contract. So what is a breach of contract? You remember when I started by saying a contract must have an offer and an acceptance. So when I have given an offer and you accept that to the contract, then what is a breach of contract? A breach of contract is now when someone decides not to do according to the laws or the rules laid down of the contract. So the breach of contract is now it is unjustifiable failure to perform all or some part of the contractual duty constitutes or a breach of contract. It ensures when a party who has a duty of immediate performance fails to perform, or when one party hinders or prevents the performance of the other party. So that is a breach of contract. In simple terms, a breach of contract is failure to perform a contract. Remedies. The remedies of breach of contract are there. We have partial performance, defective performance, what happens to defective performance, delay in performance, what happens if you delay to perform your contract, a reformation, those are now some of the things that will happen if you don't perform a contract, or maybe you become a contractor in one time of your life after school, and then you announce as a subcontractor for Kenya Power or even Rural Electrification Authority. You are told that you will be bringing up electrical lines, or you'll be installing meters in people's houses. Kenya Power gives you a contract, and then you breach the contract. There's some of the repercussions. There's some of the things that will happen to you. So many you can be told to restitute. Restitution is a remedy. Is you are told to restore the injury. Any problem that you made, any distraction that you made, you have to restore. We have specific performance. We have so many other things that can happen if you fail to perform a contract. So up to there, I want people to unmute their mics so that we can talk a bit before we go now to today's lesson, which is illumination. Unmute your mics. So Edgar.
Yes, madam.
Now that you've been in class today, now can you just say something that we have learned?
Yeah, we have learned about element of a contract where we have free consent. We have termination of offers, acceptance of proposal, then pia tumeona contract documents, kuna agreement, scope of work documents, yeah, and others.
And others. So at least you've gotten something. Peter.
Yes.
Yes, can you tell us something that you've learned?
I've learned about a contract. And contract, elements of contract.
Okay. Salad.
Others.
Good.
Yes.
Salad.
Yes.
Now, and I remember you were there the last time in class.
Yes.
So assume you are a contractor.
Yes.
And you have been subcontracted by the Kenya Power Company to install meters in people's houses. Because before you are given that tender, you are normally told to give out your the experience that you've had, what you've done. So assume that you reach at a certain point and something happens. Maybe somebody comes and steals your tools and even your money. You cannot proceed with the contract because you don't have the funds. What do you do as a contractor?
Okay. Maybe I just found out another way to get money.
You find another way to get money.
Yes.
Now, if totally you cannot find that money, what do you think can Kenya Power do for you?
Chukua shamba.
Ati nini? Edgar, did you hear that question?
Yeah, I had it. In my
Assume
case,
you were the one. Mnadhani, what can Kenya Power do for you?
no, for me, before I start a contract, I will make sure they insure that contract so that hivyo vitu zikihappen, the insurance company wanna chip in.
Good. And that is what I was looking for. There is something called an insurance company. That is why you saw the insurance in the part of the documents of a contract. So when you are entering into a contract, make sure you insure your company so that in case of any misfortune, you can be able to pay or to continue with the contract, because there is nothing as bad as breach of a contract. When you breach a contract, it means you can even never get such a contract again. So we need to be very careful. So now that we have learned about contracts, we need to be very careful, because I know you people are going to get into contracts very soon. And even some of you are getting into contracts already. So you have to be very careful in what to do to avoid landing in problems. So I hope that one is okay. And if there's no question on contracts, or if there's a question, I can give you like 5 minutes we discuss before we can get into the new topic of illumination. Anybody with a question?
Yes. I have a question.
This is who talking? Wainaina?
Salad.
No, Hassan.
Salad?
Yes.
Yes.
There is a question here. List 4 ways in which two parties can enter a contract.
List 2 ways in which parties can enter into a contract. That one I will give you an assignment to answer. Salad, before you continue, I gave you. I've posted notes there. Now the only the question, whatever the question is asking, is what are the types of contracts?
Okay.
Are you getting that? So the ways in which you can enter into a contract is the type of contract. There can be an open contract, a written, can be written contract, can be an oral contract. You see that?
Yes.
Yes. So those are the ways. And before I answer it deeply, I want you to read the notes that I've posted them. You've been complaining that Mwalimu, you've not posted notes for us for contract.
Sure, but you know, the notes are restricted.
Did you see them?
Ziko restricted.
Anthony?
Yes.
Salad?
Yes.
But mi kwangu zinanionyesha ziko restricted.
After class itakuwa sawa.
Sawa.
Yes.
Leo umetokea.
Mimi nakuanga tu.
Waacha wapi? Si leo ndo nakuona.
Mimi nakalianga tu huko nyuma.
Saizi
Yeah.
Saizi mnanisikia?
Yeah.
Yes.
Sawa. Ni kama kulikuwa tu na kashida. So, I was talking about the question that Salad asks. The thing that it is asking in brief is, what are the types of contract? Somebody can enter into a contract openly. Like, it can be oral. Oral means I'm selling you a phone. or I'll be supplying you milk every morning. Are you ready to be receiving the milk? And you say yes. So that is an oral contract. So not all contracts are normally written or can be sealed by law. So we have different types of contract. It can even be written. You write the contract, you write a note, and you sign. So there are different types of contracts. So Salad, is that okay?
Okay.
Yes. Any other question?
Okay, this one.
Mm-hmm.
Two types of contract used in PLC, programmable logic controllers.
Uh-huh. So you see now the way questions are asked, you will not get direct questions. Salad, unaona hiyo? So if you have learned about types of contracts, they have already told you about types of contracts. So we have an implied contract. You have to know what an implied contract means. We have an express contract. We have avoidable contract. We have a void contract. We have so many other contracts that we have. We have an executory contract. We have an executed contract. So you are the one who is supposed to choose which one is there. Do you think you know the answer there? If you can say, have you looked for the answer already?
No.
But have you read on the types of contracts?
Yes.
Yes. So, and you cannot get the answer. Salad.
Yes.
You've already read on the types of contract, but you cannot get the answer.
But madam, sasa sijui programmable logic controller. Sasa nitatumia
Programmable
written ama
logical controller ni PLC. Like for example, what is happening there ni umenunua, you are buying, you are contracting somebody to come and install that. It is like anything else. Somebody to come and give you a service of what you want, isn't it?
Yes.
Hiyo jina tu wanatumia ya programmable logical control is just to confuse you. But it is just giving a service. Somebody coming to install a PLC for you. What type of contract is that? You know, the first thing that you need to know there is to understand the question.
Yeah.
Sindio?
Yeah.
Yes, I will not go to find the details of giving you the answers. I want you to think, because I had not posted the notes for you. I think now that I've posted the notes for you, when we meet next time, you will tell me if you got the answer and if you didn't get, so that we discuss.
Okay.
Hassan.
Yes, another question again. Just read them so that we know how they set the questions.
List two requirements of an agreement as used in law of contract.
You list two requirements of an agreement as used in the law of contract. We have said that today. See hiyo tumesema? Can you give me answers? Maybe we can list the answers, because that one we have discussed today.
Free concept.
Yes, it has to have a free concept.
Objective.
Objective? Did I talk about objective?
Lawful consideration or
It has to have a lawful consideration or an intent. It is called intent for lawful consideration. Intent, it means that you should be willing, or you should be having in mind to make it lawful. Isn't it?
Yes.
Talada, your question's over.
Yeah. Yeah, it's over.
Sawa. Nani tena ako na maswali? At least Salada anatafuta pepa za NEC na anasoma maswali. Anthony, the moment we leave class, nyinyi pia mnapotea, si ndio? Do you normally read after we leave the classroom?
Yes.
So you should always be looking for those questions. Now that we have done about contracts, look for all the past papers from all the years and go through them and try to see which question can I answer, which one I cannot answer. So I want now to go direct to today's lesson. I'm loading a slide. Now we are talking about illumination. So this semester, I told you we are going to talk, it's all about illumination. And by the end of this semester, I think our syllabus will be done. Tutakuwa tu tumebaki na revise next papers. So illumination is all about lighting. So what is lighting? Lighting is making a room to, illumination is light. It can be a natural light, it can be a one that is created, but it is all about lighting, making a room, illuminating the room, meaning making the room visible, or the contents of the room to be visible. We can do illumination by very many ways, by either opening the door, opening the windows, switching on the lights. So we need to know about all these things. So I will start with discussing on the basic or the definitions and terms that are used in illumination, and we are going to go through them. And I have a list of them, so many of them, so we'll be going through them one by one. So we start with the light output. What is light output? The most common measure of light output, or the luminous flash. So light output is also called luminous flash. So the most common measure of light output is the lumen. So lumen is the measure of the output, the amount of light that is output. So the light sources are labeled with an output rating in lumens. Like for example, you will get the light fittings, like now a bulb, a normal bulb, written 40 watts, 100 watts. So that is the light output. That is the rating, or that is the luminous flash, all the maximum amount of light that this item can produce or can give out. Light sources are labeled, I've already said. For example, a T12 is normally rated as 40 watts. That is the fluorescent lamp may have a rating of 3050 lumens. Similarly, a light fixture's output can be expressed in lumens. Now, as lamps and fixtures age and become dirty, their lumen output decreases. That is, the lumen depreciation occurs. So the lumen is the amount of light that they can produce. So when they age, their lumen decreases or depreciates, and they cannot produce as much bright light as they were when they were new. So most lamp ratings are based on the initial lumens. They are based on the initial lumens, meaning the lumens that they had when they were new. So another definition is light level. What is a light level? It is the light intensity measured on a plane of a specific location. A plane of a specific location called illuminance. The light level is the illuminance. It is the light intensity. These definitions are very important, because the moment we start on other things, I will assume that you have the definitions with you. So it is better that you take them, note them down. So the light intensity is measured on the light intensity. The light level is the light intensity measured on the plane of a specific location and is called illuminance. So illuminance is measured in foot candles, which is normally known as FT, foot candles, which are workplace lumens per square foot. You can measure illuminance using a light meter located on the work surface where tasks are performed. So using a simple arithmetic and manufacturer's photometric data, you can predict illuminance of a defined space. So the lux is the metric unit for illuminance. So the unit for illuminance is lux. And we said it is measured in foot candles. To convert foot candles into lux, multiply candles by 10.76. I hope you've noted that. Now we go to the next one is brightness. And most questions, this question has never missed in any of your neck papers. Differentiate between brightness and glare. This one must always come. So be very keen when we are talking about these terms. So what is brightness? It is a measurement, another measurement of light. Sorry. Brightness is another measurement of light. So another measurement of light is luminance, sometimes called brightness. So brightness is also called luminance. So it is also another measurement of light. This measurement, this measures light, that is leveling a surface in a particular direction. So, and considers the luminance on the surface and the reflection of the surface. So the human eye does not see illuminance, it sees luminance. So the human eye sees brightness. So brightness is the general term or the common term of luminance. So therefore, the amount of light delivered into the space and the reflectance of the surface in the space affects your ability to see. So we have said brightness is luminance, and it is what the person sees. It is what a human eye can see. So we go to another definition is the quantity measures. Quantity measures. Now we have the luminous flask, which is commonly called the light output and is measured in lumens, that is LM. Illuminance, which we had already said, it is called the light level and it is measured in foot candles. It is called the light level. We have said illuminance is the light level is measured in foot candles. And then we have luminance is refers to as the brightness and is measured in foot lamberts. It's measured in foot lamberts, that is FL, or candles per meter squares, that is CD per meter squared. So we are going to use these terms when we'll be doing the calculations. So they are very important terms for you. So what are the basic types of lighting? We have the basic types of lighting. We will start by some stories there that one room can serve multiple purposes. It can be a place where you can relax, work on computer, do arts and craft, cook, share a meal with friends, and much more. So this is why lighting fixtures need to be correspond to the setting of the application of the room. So anytime you want to put lighting in a room, you need to know what the room will be used for. So people often expect a single source of light to meet all their needs. Yet, of these three types of lighting has a particular function to fulfill specific needs. So we have three major types of lighting. We have the ambient lighting, task lighting, and accent lighting. So the ambient is also the indoor lighting. It's the general or ambient lighting is intended to light up a room in its entirety. It provides a uniform level of illumination throughout the space independently of other lighting sources. So the ambient lighting it should light the room entirely. Every corner of the room should be lit using the ambient lighting. Moreover, its purpose is to ensure safe as well as to create an overview of the room. So ambient light bounces off the walls to illuminate as much space as possible. So that is the first type of lighting called the ambient lighting. The types of fixtures that can be used in this ambient lighting, we have some fixtures like the chandelier. We have the ceiling mounted fixtures like the lighters. We have the wall mounted fixtures, that the wall brackets. We have the traditional recessed fixtures like the LED downlighters. We have the track lights, the floor lamp, and the table lamp. All these are fixtures that can be found under the ambient lighting. And we said the ambient lighting are supposed to serve the whole room. Ambient outdoor lighting. So that one is ambient indoor. Now we go to ambient outdoor lighting. So the ambient outdoor lighting Outdoor lighting is usually installed in order to ensure the visibility and increase the security around a building. So it is also recommended to light up the exterior of the building. So the entrance, that is the entrance and the stairs, to reduce, perhaps to eliminate the risk of injury that can occur when entering or leaving a building. So ambient outdoor lighting, it is just ambient that we had discussed, but also it is supposed to measure all the surrounding of wherever it is put. Like now, for example, at the stairs, the corridors, and even for security. The types of fixtures that provide the ambient outdoor lighting are like spotlight, hanging fixture, garage, and canopy lighting. Others are like post lantern, wall lighting, recessed fixtures used in overhanging structures. We have task lighting. Now that is another type of lighting. We said we have 3 major types of lighting. It is a requirement for your course that you have to know the types of lighting. I've said we have 3 types of lighting. We have the ambient lighting, task lighting, and the accent lighting. So we are now on the task lighting. The task lighting illuminates the task of a person carries out in a given space, such as reading, cooking, computer work. So a bright light is required in a small focal point on the room of this sort of tasks. So for more pleasant illumination, it is often best to avoid harsh lights or lighting that casts trouble shadows. It is also practical to install a simple switch for focal lighting, independent from the room overall lighting switch. The types of fixtures that provide task lighting are: we have the directional gimbal recessed fixtures or downlighters. We have the pendant lighting. Now, before I forget, you see the types of fixtures that I'm listing here. The task today that you'll need to do is you will list these features in a separate worksheet and look at their images. I want you to get an example image of each of these lightings. That is now your research work. You will give the images and attach the name to it and where they are used and their ratings and how they appear. And then after giving a list of all those features, you will forward them to the portal. I'll get your assignment there. Remember, we are also taking the attendance and also the attendance of those who have forwarded the assignments. So we have the slim bar and the under cabinet. That is another type of task lighting. We have the tape and extrusion and the portable or desk lamp. You will realize that people like you, electrical engineers who are learning electrical engineers, you will need this type of lighting. Like, for example, those who will decide to major in electronics. Electronics normally needs a very special amount of lighting that is concentrated at one focal point. That is, you can even use the fluorescent to light just at the table, the working table, to make sure that all the work is done correctly and you view all the working area perfectly. So the last type of lighting is the ambient lighting. And this lighting is used mainly to focus on a specific point of interest or to achieve a desired effect. This type of lighting gives an impression of a larger room. It is more frequent used to highlight an architectural feature, a plant in outdoor layout, a sculpture, or a collection of objects. Now, it is as a general rule, effective ambient lighting requires the installation of 3 times more light on the focal point than the ambient light generally provides. Now, types of fixtures in the ambient lighting, we have the track light, we have the slimline bar and the under cabinet, we have the tape and extrusion, we have the directional recessed fixture and downlight, we have the wall mounted fixtures. So if we often start designing our lighting plan with an ambient lighting and then go on to identify the areas where we will need to for an ambient lighting. So anytime we are doing a design and you guys are going to land in these kinds of job, you're going to do a design before you make a design of somebody, before you give the client exactly what the client needs, you need to know what the use of the room. What is the room going to be used for? What is the room going to be used for? So the use of the room will give you the particular work that you are supposed to do. So for example, I'm doing a design of a classroom. A classroom is a room that needs a lot of lighting because the students will need to read. So you'll need to know what is the use of the room. You will need to know what was the particular thing that you're supposed to get from the room. So the next thing that we want to discuss is about now, still on the determining the or the definition of the terms that are used. We have now determining the target light levels. We are going to do the discussion, or when we do the calculations, we look at them. Then next, we have the quality measures that when we talked about them, the quality of illumination. Now, what is the quality of illumination? It is the improvements in lighting quality can yield high dividends of the US business. Now, that is business in any place. So gains in work productivity may result by providing corrected light levels with reduced glare. So although the cost of energy for lighting is substantial, it is small compared to the cost of labor. So there are other things that we also need to know about the quality of light. We have three quality issues are addressed in this section. We have the glare, we have uniformity in illuminance, and we have the color retention. So before I go on to other terms, again, I want you to mute on your mics, mute your to unmute your mics so that we can have a small discussion. Unmute your mics again. I'm waiting for Edgar and Humphrey to unmute your mics. Yes, we start with Wainaina. Anthony. Hello.
Yes.
Yes, we have talked about so many things there about illumination.
Yes.
We have talked about so many definitions. Which one of them that we have talked about?
Light.
Yes?
Lighting output.
I'm not even getting what you are saying.
Lighting out.
Yes, lighting output. What about it?
This is the maximum light that a light source can produce.
Yes, lighting output is the maximum light that a light source. Now, light sources are like bulb. We have even the sun. We have even the fire source. We have so many other things that can produce light. So the quality of light is the output that can be produced, and it is measured in units. We say it is measured in what units? They are measured in what units?
What?
Yeah.
In what? Did I even say something like that? Anton, can somebody help you? Humphrey,
Yes.
what did you get from the lesson that we have had?
Okay, we started by learning about illumination.
Yes.
Where we said illumination is like lighting.
Yeah.
And we have quantity of illumination, whereby we talked about light output, light level, and brightness. And
What did we talk about brightness? Can you give a brief description of?
Okay, brightness. We said that brightness is measured in luminance. Hello. Hello.
I'm listening.
Bwana zoendelee.
Endelea
Yeah.
nani?
Endelea tu.
Endelea.
Sawa. So brightness is measured in luminance. Alafu tukaenda kuona quantity measures. Quantity measures kuna basic types of lighting.
Tulisema how many are there?
There are 3.
Good, there are 3. Can you name them?
One is task lighting, ambient lighting, and ambient lighting.
And ambient lighting. Yes,
Yeah.
that is good. That is a good trial. Let somebody else at least explain these types of lighting. You've tried. Salad, I'm seeing you now. Can you explain these types of lighting? What is ambient lighting?
Ambient lighting is intended lighting room to provide a uniform level of illumination.
Yes, it is used to provide a uniform illumination, meaning it has to light the whole room. Now, like the rooms that you guys stay, I know 100% of you, when you are in the university, you stay in bedsitters. You stay in rooms, a room that you normally access everything just at a go. Ndio ama wengine mnaishi ma one bedroom?
Wengine tuko one bedroom bedsitter.
Kuna mtu anaishi one bedroom akikuwa college?
Wengine umejua wanakuanga wameoa.
Anthony, are you one of them?
Inaina.
Why?
Tuachie tu hapo.
So that is a good example of an ambient lighting that is supposed to cover everywhere. And ambient lighting, don't forget that we said it is of 2 types. We have the indoor and the outdoor. What about the ambient lighting? Tulisema ambient lighting ni ya kufanya nini? Who can answer that?
Focus on a specific Ambient lighting, this kind of lighting that it is used to focus on a specific point of an interested
Yes,
place.
it is used to focus on a specific place. But there is a difference between the ambient lighting and the task lighting, because task is specifically at a point and it directs at one point. But for the ambient lighting, it is broader. It produces more light, at least more light than what the task lighting produces. So I hope up to that point we are okay. So let us mute our mics again so that we proceed. Let us mute our mics. Good. So we proceed. So we have talked about glare. Now, glare, what is glare? A glare is perhaps the most important factor with respect to lighting quality. That is glare. So glare is a sensation caused by luminances in the visual field that are too bright. Glare is the sensation caused by luminances in the visual field that are too bright. Discomfort, annoyance, and reduced productivity can result also from glare. So glare is the sensation caused by luminances in the visual field that are too bright. When sometimes somebody opens up, sometimes you get outside and you are looking at the sun directly. You are not able to see because of glare. The light is too much, so that it causes discomfort or annoyance to the eyes. So glare is something that is too bright, or sometimes it affects your vision. So a bright object alone does not necessarily cause glare, but the bright object in front of a dark background, however, usually will cause glare. That is the contrast. Contrast is the relationship between the luminance of an object and its background. You can see that in my notes. Although the visual task generally becomes easier, It increases contrast. So too much contrast causes glare and makes the visual task much more difficult. So that is about glare. And then glare is that. And then we have reflected glare and the visual comfort probability. So usually illuminance on task. The uniformity of illuminance is the quantity issue that addresses how evenly light spans over a task area. So although a room's average illuminance may be appropriate, two factors may comprise uniformity. So we have the important fixture placement based on the luminous space criteria, and we also have the fixtures that are retrofit, which reflects that narrow and light distribution. So that is about glare. So non-uniform luminance causes several problems like inadequate light levels in some areas. Another thing is visual discomfort when tasks require frequent shift from one view from underlit to overlit areas, and then black spots and patches of light on floor and walls may cause distraction and generate low quality of appearance. So we have to put all this in consideration to make sure that we are doing a perfect illumination of a room. So the ability to see colors properly is another aspect of lighting quality. Light sources vary in their ability of accuracy reflect all true colors of people or objects. So the color rendering index, that is CRI scale, is used to compare the effect of light source on the color appearance of the surrounding. So light sources, we had said some of them. So light sources, what are these light sources? Commercial, industrial, or retail facilities use several different light sources. Each lamp type has particular advantages, selecting the appropriate source depending on installation requirements, life cycle, cost, color quantities, dimming capability, and the effect wanted. So three types of lamps are commonly used. We have the incandescent lamps, we have the fluorescent lamps, we have the high intensity discharge lamps, we have the mercury vapor lamps, metal halide, the high pressure sodium, and the low pressure sodium lamps. So before describing each of these lamp types, the following sections include characteristics of the common that are common to all of the lamps. Now, characteristics of light sources. This is also another very important thing. What are the characteristics of the light sources? Electric light sources have three characteristics, that is the efficiency, the color temperature, and the color rendering index. So the efficiency is, some lamp types are more efficient in converting energy into visible light than others. So the efficiency of a lamp refers to the number of lumens leaving the lamp compared to the number of watts required by the lamp. That is the ballast. So sometimes a light bulb might take in a lot of watts in, but the amount of light leaving, the amount of lumens leaving the lamp might be not be adequate. So that is about efficiency. So a more efficient light fitting is one that produces the same amount of lumens as what it takes in. So the sources are high with higher efficiency require less electrical energy in a light to light a space. So what about the color temperature? Another characteristics of a light source is the color temperature. This is a measure of warmth or the coolness provided by the lamp. So people usually prefer a warmer source in lower illuminance areas, such as the dining areas and the living room, and cooler sources in higher luminance areas, such as the glossary and the stores. So cool temperature refers to a color of black body, that is radiator, as a given absolute temperature expressed in Kelvin. A black body radiator changes color as it is as its temperature increases. So first to red, then to orange, then yellow, and finally bluish white, and the highest temperature. So a worm, that is a color light source, actually has a lower color temperature. So those ones that can change colors are called are the ones that have the higher temperature. Now, for example, a cool white fluorescent lamp appears bluish in color with yellowish, with a color temperature of around 4,100 Kelvin. So a warmer fluorescent lamp appears more yellowish with a color temperature of around 3,000 Kelvin. So refer to those are just the sources of lighting. So if you look at this, when you buy a fluorescent lamp, sometimes you will look at the writings or the ratings or the specifications on that fitting, and you will see some of this, that something has a color temperature of around 4,100 temperature Kelvin. So that light, it seems to be a cooler or does not produce a lot of heat. So color rendering index. The color rendering index is a relative scale ranging from 0 to 100, indicating how perceived colors match actual colors. It measures the degree of that particular perceived colors or object illuminated by a given light source, conform to colors of those same objects when they are lighted by a reference standard light source. The higher the color render index, the less the color shift or distortion colors. So now we go to the types of lighting. Now we have the incandescent lights. We have the standard and the standard incandescent lights. Their lamps are one of the oldest electric lighting technologies available, with efficiencies. They have the efficacies ranging from 6 to 24 lumens per watt. Incandescent lamps are the least energy efficient electric light sources and have relatively short life. They don't save light. So because they don't save light, they die out very fast, and they are not the best light. So light produced by passing through a current through a tungsten filament, causing it to become hot and glow. So with use of the tungsten slowly evaporates, eventually causing the filament to break. So these lamps are available in many shapes and finishes. The two most common types of these shapes are type A and the reflector lamp shapes. So the tungsten halogen lamps. So we have already known about the tungsten, incandescent lamps, which don't save a lot of energy. So the tungsten halogen lamp is another type of incandescent lamp. In an halogen lamp, a small quartz capsule contains the filament and a halogen gas. So the small capsule size allows the filament to operate at a higher temperature, which produces light at a higher efficiency than standard incandescent lights. So the halogen gas combines with the evaporated tungsten, depositing in it on the filament. So this process extends the life of the filament and keeps the bulb wall from blackening and reducing the light output. So because the filament is relatively small, so this source is often very used where a highly focused beam is desired. So we have the type A lamp. The type A lamp are most efficient halogen lamps are available. These sources are as infrared coating on the quartz bulb, or an advanced reflector designed to redirect infrared light back to the filament. So the filament that glows hotter and the efficiency of the source is increased. We have the fluorescent lamps. Fluorescent lamps are the most common used commercial lighting sources. In fact, fluorescent lamps illuminate 71% of the commercial space in the States. So this popularity can be attributed to their relatively high efficiency, diffuse light distribution characteristics, and long operating life. Fluorescent lamps don't stay for so long. So fluorescent lamps construction consists of a glass tube with the following features. Number 1, filled with an air argon, that is, or argon krypton gas, and a small amount of mercury, coated to the inside with phosphors, equipped with an electrode at both ends. So fluorescent lamps provide light by the following process. Number 1, an electric discharge, that is a current, is maintained between the electrode through the mercury vapor and the inert gas. This current excites the mercury atoms, causing them to emit non-visible or ultraviolet radiation. So this ultraviolet radiation is converted to visible light by the phosphorus lining in the tube. So discharge lamps such as fluorescent require a balance to produce correct starting voltage and to regulate the operating current after the lamp has started. That is why normally a fluorescent tube has a starter. So the moment the starter has already started, even if you remove the starter, when the lamp is already on, it will continue lighting because of the support that it gets. So full-size fluorescent lamps. Full-size fluorescent lamps are available in several shapes, including the straight, U-shaped, and circular configuration. Lamp diameters range 1 inch to 2.5 inch. The most common lamp type is the 4-foot, that is 440, 1.5 inch diameter, that is the T12, that is the 4 feet. You remember how we normally name them. More efficient fluorescent lamps are now available in smaller diameters. So performance and considerations. The performance of any luminaire system depends on how well its components work together. So with fluorescent lamp ballast system, light output, that is input watts, and efficiency are sensitive to changes in the ambient temperatures. When the ambient temperature around the lamp is significantly above or below 25 degrees Celsius, then the performance of the system can change. The exhibit 6 shows this relationship of two common lamp ballast systems, that is the 4 feet and the 5 feet lamp in the magnet ballast, and the feet 32 and T8 lamp in our electronic ballast. So you can see all those are not, I'm just reading through what I think is very important. So we have a compact fluorescent lamp, that is another type of fluorescent. It advances in phosphor coating and reduces the tube diameters. So you need to know all these lamps and what they are made of and how they appear. High intensity discharge lamps. This one, I leave them for you to read. Mercury vapor lamps. The clear mercury vapor lamps, which produce a blue-green light, consist of a mercury vapor arc tube with tungsten electrodes at both ends. These lamps have the lowest efficiency of the HID family, that is the high intensity discharge lamps family, rapid lumen depreciation, and a low color rendering index. So we also have the metal halides. We are still describing. We have the high pressure sodium lamps, low pressure sodium lamps. We have the ballast. We have the fluorescent ballast and the HID ballast. We have the electronics lab ballast, the cutout cut hybrid, all those. I'll give you these notes to go through them. Types of fluorescent circuits. There are 3 main types of fluorescent circuits. We have the rapid start, instant start, and the preheat, and they are defined down there. Rapid start circuit is the most used system today. The rapid start ballast provides continuous lamp filament heating during lamp operation, except when used with a cathode cut-out ballast lamp. So users notice a very short delay after flipping the switch before the lamp is started. So the instant start system ignites the arc within the lamp instantly. So this balance provides a higher starting voltage, which eliminates the need of separate starting circuit. So this higher starting voltage causes more wear of the filament, resulting in reduced lamp life compared to the rapid starting. You can see the difference. The preheat circuit was used when fluorescent lamps first become available. This technology is used very little today, except of low wattage magnetic balance applications. So luminaries are there. Luminaries efficiency, direct lighting. The lumina, those are definitions that we had already talked about. The main function of lumina to direct light using the reflective and shielding materials. Luminal efficiency. Reflectors, lenses, and Now, light fixtures luminary types: recessed, direct, and direct independent lights. Now, I want you to look for the pictures of all the fixtures that I've put here. Task lighting, wall source, cabinet light fixtures. What are the lights that we use in the cabinets? The wall wash light fixtures, the walls, and that. So, unmute your mics. Then we have the track lighting. The track lighting answers the need of the flexibility in location. You can use them in any location. Those are the track lighting. They can be tracked, meaning you can move them on the rails. Quantity and the aiming angles. So the track lighting has become much more sophisticated in function and appearance, with multiple circuits and voltages, finishes, colors, and styles, and can be surface mounted on walls and ceiling or suspended. Then we have the portable lightings. You can even move with them on tables and anything. You can just light them as a torch. These portable fixtures are identified typically by their cord, which can be plugged into any available electric outlet. Like you can plug it direct to a socket and it lights. So the decks, the bed lights, the pole lights, the torcheries, and some fixture lightings, like they fall into this category. You can see the way it looks like. So you can carry it to wherever you want. Then we have the landscape lighting. These are normally at the outside. Lighting refers to outdoor or rated fixtures and used to accent trees, walkways, and flower gardens, and often includes deck lighting. And then we have the fiber optic. Lamps provide thin, clear fibers which emit color-changing light out the ends. So the fiber carry only light on, no electricity, so they are completely safe in any location. So the design principles and examples. The notes are there on the design. How you design the section brings together the various design principles and techniques, provide a particular approach of effective and efficient lighting for a house. So efficient and effective lighting design means using most efficient sources with the required controls and will supply the light layout directly. So you read about that. We talked about the ambient lighting so that you know where it is the task lighting, the ambient lighting. We talked about that. So we have decorative fixtures. Decorative fixtures are just used for decorating the room, that is the straight head on the wall, great method of creating soft ambient lighting. We have the solely out a special object in above, and then we have the grazing, we have dimmers, we have motion detectors, photo cells. So the design checklist is there. So make some basic notes on each room. Then what are the colors of the finishes that are in the room? Those are the things that you consider. What furniture will be added and where? What is the size, the shape, and the ceiling, the height? You consider that before you can calculate. What task will be carried out in the room? The vertical surface can be washed with light to provide softer diffuse overall light. So all those things are the questions that you can ask yourself. The entryway and hallway, how the lighting, the track lights, these are now the track lights or down lights, they are installed. If this is an entryway, maybe a staircase or a corridor, how do I track the lights? They're normally put towards the middle, and that is how they should put, facing each other. And then the downlighters and wall. Now, when put on walls as portable fluorescent, we have the wall source. You can see them there. The dining room, how to design lights in the dining room. We have the kitchen, how you can design the kitchen. I wanted you to see that. We have a bedroom, how you can design the Kelvin, that is, I said, the coldness. The CRI we talked about, that is the color index. Then the bathroom, how we can, the quantities needed, the switch, the dimmer switch, the watt, how we can design that. We have the family great room, that is now like the socialization room, or even it's a room just for relaxing. Now we have the office, home office, how you can design the home office and the lighting and the garage, the stairways, and many other things. So you'll get these notes by the end of the day, and I want you to go through them and make some short notes. So in conclusion, this, by adding your own imagination and principle of the idea in this guide, you will enjoy the benefits of efficiency and effectively lit home for years to come, while minimizing your utility bills and environmental impact. So the energy efficiency is a good business, like economic prosperity, environmental performance, social responsibility, and security. So that is the end of my presentation today. That is the second part of the slide. So up to that point, I want to know if we have any questions so that I can give you like 5 minutes for question sessions, so that we break, go for lunch, and come back at 2. We will extend this and start at around 2:20. I'll give you 20 minutes from 2, so that we join at 2:20, so that I also go and make some lunch. Now, can I have questions from you? Can I hear people talk before we finish? Edgar. Edgar, Salad. I want to hear people talk.
I'm okay, madam.
You're okay?
Yeah.
So Edgar, you're also okay? Wainaina, Humphrey, you guys are okay?
Yeah, we are okay.
Yes.
Good. Good. If you are okay, I want us to break for lunch, and we are supposed to meet at 2, but I'm suggesting we meet at 2:20 or 2:15. Which one do you think is okay with you?
20.
Hey, sawa. Let us meet at 2:20, and exactly 2:20 nimeanza. Sio isimaanisha ati 2:20 ndio unatafuta network bundles. So look for the bundles early enough. By exactly 2:20, we are starting the next class. Okay, bye.